There's something oddly calming about watching solder flow, so this video will be in real time. Be sure to bookmark this though, so you can come back to it as a reference if you're still dialing in your soldering techniques. You can also hold the left side of the screen if you want to put some pep in the video step. This is where it all comes together, literally. I'm using 60-40 solder and a temperature of 410. Even with tape on the front side of the piece, I still like to tack solder all of the pieces together before laying down even beads. I'm using Canfield solder for the first time after being recommended by Mackenzie Halley. I'll be doing a comparative test in the near future to see if I notice the difference between the more expensive Canfield solder and less expensive options, so keep an eye out for that one. I used to dread soldering because I could never get it to bead properly. It was always flat. Then I realized I wasn't putting enough solder on. I had to keep telling myself to put on more solder. It felt unnatural to me for some reason. I also used to rush through the soldering process. But since turning up the temperature, I don't have to rush my lines before the solder cools anymore. This gave me the extra time to slow down my lines and focus on smooth strokes of the soldering iron. What do you focus on when you're soldering? For me, I try to focus on smoothness of my motions. I recognize which part of my body is responsible for the movement and which causes the least amount of hand shake. I've personally found movements with my shoulder while locking my elbow and wrist work best for me when I'm soldering. Kind of weird to think about, but it also keeps me dialed into the present, which is a good mental exercise. If you're learning how to create stained glass art, or just enjoy watching art get created one step at a time, you're in the right place. Be sure to hit the follow button so you can see this and other stained glass pieces come to life. Thank you so much for being here.